Christ's Letters, continuation of Letter 2. I'm in day 14 of my reading and recording of Christ's Letters. Whilst my mother nursed me back to good health, I made powerful use of the knowledge and enlightenment given me in the desert. This restored me to the man I was meant to be. When I started my mission, I was fully aware that I was the only one with the supreme knowledge of the secrets of creation and existence itself. Therefore, I could say with perfect confidence, no one has seen the Father but me. I knew that all that men believed in so wholeheartedly was false, not real. I knew that I had been specially fashioned and designed by the Father for this mission. I had been blessed abundantly with the physical energy, vitality of speech, and the ability to devise meaningful parables to enable me to pass on the message successfully and in a form that would never be forgotten. Besides which, I understood my fellow men so well from long association with them that I knew their fondest hopes, their most desperate fears. I knew what made them laugh and prompted them to mockery and derision of the rich and pompous. And I knew also how deeply so many, young and old, suffered silently and bravely. I knew and experienced deep compassion for the populace which lived in fear of, or endured, the verbal whiplash of Pharisees and bowed them to the tax laws of the Romans. I knew how their proud Jewish spirit was bruised by the conquering Gentiles, whom they were forced to honor with their lips and hand and knee salutations, yet whom they despised behind closed doors. I knew and fully understood the lives and thinking of the populace. I had previously thought their thoughts, felt their resentments, endured their kind of anxieties in times of lack, felt powerless in the grip of the Roman governance. I now knew that none of this suffering was really necessary. Knowing as I did the reality of existence, the reality of universal God, I could clearly perceive the foolishness of the Jews in authority, who were imposing a burdensome way of life upon the populace which was wholly erroneous and in direct contradiction of the truth of being. The situation made me deeply angry. Therefore, I knew I had been perfectly fashioned and honed to become a purified instrument of divine action in Palestine, driven by my passion for truth and driven by my compassion for my fellow human beings. Hence I called myself Son of Man, because I knew exactly what mankind was up against in their daily lives. Furthermore, I had perfect confidence I could achieve my objectives of bringing truth to the people and thus be instrumental in changing the quality of their lives. For that reason, although I knew right at the outset of my mission there would be a penalty to pay for all I proposed to do, turn the known Jewish world upside down and inside out, I was prepared to face up to it, go through it, could not evade it, because I loved people with Father love flowing through my heart and being. For Father love is the essence of giving itself into visible being and visible existence and growing, protecting, nourishing, healing, and fulfilling all the needs of all creation made visible. I knew I was the Father's gift of salvation to the people, to the world, not, as they supposed and taught down the centuries, salvation from the punishment meted out by an angry God to sinners, but to save people from the daily repetition of the same mistakes in wrong thinking which created their misfortunes, poverty, sickness, and misery. Because I loved the human race so deeply, I was prepared to teach and heal in defiance of the Jewish priests. I was prepared to die on the cross for what I had truly seen in the desert, knew with all my heart, and wanted to share to the last drop of my ability to do so. This is the truth behind my crucifixion, and all the rest you've heard is man-made conjecture arising out of the Jewish practice of burnt offerings in the temple. I was a gift from the Father to mankind to help them surmount their ignorance of the laws of existence and find the true path of life leading to joy, leading to the joy, abundance, and perfect wholeness of the kingdom of heaven. These were the perceptions, the desires, the intentions, and goals and the thoughts which I bore within my mind and heart. This was the earthly mental emotional framework clothing my spiritual consciousness hidden within the head and figure of Jesus. It was my spiritual consciousness channeled into the above forms of thought and feeling which impelled me to set out on a 3-year journey to bring the people what I fully believed was final rescue from their own blind thinking and feeling, which were creating their own troubled lives. I truly believed that if only the people could be shown all that had been given to me to understand, they would realize their past folly and would make every effort to change their thinking and put foot to the path of life leading to the kingdom of heaven. To this end, I was prepared to give my life. Because of the wrong interpretation placed on my mission by Jewish teachers, my true message has been distorted out of recognition, and the purpose of these letters is to bring to the people of this new age the truth of what I really spoke to the crowds in Palestine. Therefore, returning to my recounting of those days, let me take you back to a special day which bore fruit amongst my listeners and made a lasting impression in the minds of my disciples. Hence, for me also, it was a particularly meaningful day. I took time off from the pressure of people to go into the hills to pray and meditate to recharge my spiritual batteries by making a deep, strong, more powerful connection with the Father within me. This connection was so rapidly obscured within my consciousness when I was busy amongst the crowds that I was exhausted. Arriving in the cave I used when in that area, I pulled out the pallet hidden under a rock and lay down to sleep. Instead of sleep, however, I felt the immediate inflow of divine life, the Father, and the tiredness was dissolved as my body was charged with the power which is the creative source of all being. I was lifted in consciousness into golden light, and as I was traveling upwards within this light, it suddenly changed to purest white, and I knew that, in consciousness, I was now at the portals of the equilibrium, which is the eternal, the universal, the infinite dimension beyond all conception of human mind. I observed the light but was not of it, nor was it powerfully within me, since this was the God dimension of the void, the no form of the universal equilibrium. But it communicated with me and infused me with its glowing love. It impressed in me, yet again, that it was the creating, perfecting, healing process, love, governing all existence. I knew that wherever there was lack, there would eventually be fulfillment, even as waters flow to fill a lake. Where there is misery, there would be joy, because it was the nature of the universal to move into any living thing in need, to bring fulfillment and joy. I knew that where there was no growth, circumstances would arise to promote the growth. I knew where there was a sense of failure, challenges would be provided to spur people into success and self-confidence. I saw that this love work, constantly initiated by the Father in the lives of overburdened people, might not be recognized as a gift of love by the recipients. They might be so sunk in their apathy, feelings of failure, their belief that nothing good could ever come their way, they would fail to see anything in their lives beyond their own beliefs and feelings. Hence, they would remain rooted in their own self-created hell. There was no need to feel sorry for anyone. The only need was a compassionate heart and a determination to bring truth to heal their ignorance. The greatest gift a man could give to another was the enlightenment of ignorance of existence and its cosmic laws. For the truth was, every single soul was embraced within the universal, and the degree of universal input via the Father love work in their lives depended entirely on the individual's receptivity. I realized that what people needed urgently to hear was what I had just been told. They needed to see and fully realize the intention and the purpose and the potential of love, which was the very substance of their being. Because of their disbelief, they might cast the Father love work aside as being more pain-inducing challenges and thus lie down in their failure forever. I now saw, even more clearly, I was sent to awaken people to all the possibilities for self-development, prosperity, and the achievement of joy and happiness. But it would be up to them to wake up and take advantage of what was offered them. I remembered that this upliftment lasted all night, and in the morning I rose feeling alive as never before. My message had been clarified. I had seen, even more clearly, the reality of the Father and knew that I would be able to go out that day and meet the crowds and transmit to them the power and the life of what had been shown me. As I climbed down from the cave, I came to a large rock overlooking a steep precipice. When I sat, I was able to look down over the town we were to visit that day. I could feel that perfecting process, that making whole impulse, the Father, surging through me, and I longed to share it with others before the problems of daily living should swamp it and it should lose its power and driving force within my human consciousness. My disciples joined me a short while later. On entering the town, they spoke to the people and directed the gathering crowds to move on to sloping ground beyond the dwelling places. Standing on a large rock in their midst, I began to speak. I found that the passion and the joy, the yearnings, longing, and conviction were all spontaneously poured into the words I spoke to them. You are sorely pressed down and weary. Your tasks grow heavier as you get older. Your bellies are often empty. Your clothes get threadbare. People make you angry, and you feel there is no end to your trouble and heaviness of spirit. But this is not the truth concerning your existence. Your lives were intended to be very different. If you could only see beyond your feelings, if you could only lift your minds to make contact with the Father within you, you would be able to see and know what your state of existence should be. You would realize that you were created to enjoy abundance, protection, good health, and happiness. But because daily you live in fear of good and evil, and believe and expect these more than you believe that the Father is abundant life and love within you, supplying you with all the things necessary for health and well-being, it is your most feared good and evil experiences you attract into your lives and bodies. Your beliefs in good and evil obscure, cloud over all that the Father has in store for you if only you will believe in Father love. You judge your todays and expect of your tomorrows what you have experienced in the past. Therefore, are the ills of your yesterdays continually repeated in the future. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow. I love you all and may God bless you all. Bye!